For number 1, you'll notice there is no equal sign, so we need to combine like terms. We can start by underlining terms that have the same variable, circling other terms with an a different variable, and then combining. Negative 17 minus 23 makes negative 40b. Positive 1a plus 24a makes plus 25a. Negative 10 has no like terms. You can write your answer that way, or you can write it in alphabetical order. 25a minus 40b minus 10. Either of these two answers is correct. For number 2, we have to find which expression has a value of 3a minus 2. Looking at answer choice A, we have negative 6a plus 9a, and we have positive 4 and negative 2. Negative 6a and 9a make 3a, plus 4 minus 2 makes 3a plus 2. So answer choice A does not work. For answer choice B, we have negative a plus 5a and negative a. Then we have positive 4 and negative 6. Combining together, negative 1a, and 5a will get 3a. 4 minus 6 gives us 3a minus 2. So the correct answer choice is answer choice B. Just to verify, if you combine together answer choice C, you should get 2a plus 2, and answer choice D, you'll end up getting 3a plus 2. Okay, moving ahead to number 3. You'll notice we have a number outside parentheses, which means it needs to be distributed. There is, again, no equal sign, so we have to combine like terms. Negative 1/3 times 9 makes negative 3x. Negative 1/3 times negative 18 makes positive 6, or plus 6. We'll copy down plus 8x. After that, we're going to combine like terms. Negative 3x and 8x makes 5x. Plus 6 has no like terms, so our final answer is choice A, 5a plus 6. For number 4, again, there's no equal sign, so we need to simplify by combining like terms. There is a number outside the parentheses, so we have to distribute. When we distribute, 0.3 times negative 4, we'll get negative 1.2x. 0.3 times 20 gives positive 6. Once we've distributed, we can get rid of the parentheses. Now we're going to combine like terms. So combining together negative 1.2x and 8.8x, we'll end up with 7.6x. Negative 7 plus 6 is negative 1. You could also write your answer as negative 1 plus 7.6x. Both of those would be correct. For number 5, the first step to solve this equation after we draw our line and circle the variable, again, we'll notice there's an equal sign, is we have to use inverse operations, or the opposite operations. So we would need to subtract 15 from both sides. So the correct answer choice was D. For number 6, again, we'll notice there is an equal sign, so we need to solve by using inverse operations. We'll start by moving the numbers that are not directly right next to the variable, the things that are added and subtracted. So we'll add 18 on both sides. We'll end up with x over negative 1.2 equals 20. To get rid of dividing by 1.2, we are going to multiply by negative 1.2. Okay, after multiplying, we'll end up with our final answer of x equals negative 24. For number 7, to show our work, if we copy the first step over, we will combine like terms. Negative 3 and negative 9 makes negative 12. Plus 7x and plus 8x combined together to make 15x. So, looking at the work that Austin showed over here, the mistake is that instead of negative 6, or instead of negative 12, Austin made a mistake combining together negative 3 and negative 9. So the correct answer choice is answer choice B. For number 8, to solve the equation, we're going to first ask ourselves, are there variables on one side or on both sides? The variables are on the same side, so we need to combine like terms. Putting together 9x and x, we'll end up with 10x plus 14 equals 34. Once we're down to one variable, if we circle the variable, we're going to move things added and subtracted away from the variable first. And finally, we'll divide by 10 on both sides, end up with x equals 2 as our final answer. For number 4, it says which shows the after both sides have been distributed correctly. So we need to distribute negative 4 times x makes negative 4x. Negative 4 times negative 2 makes positive 8. 5 times 3 makes 15x. And 5 times 8 makes negative 40. So looking through our answer choices, that matches up with answer choice C. Final answer. For number 10, it says the perimeter of the rectangle is 42 inches. To find the perimeter, we need to write down or mark all of the sides and then combine them together. So 5x plus x minus 3 plus 5x plus x minus 3 all combined together to make 12x minus 6. We know the perimeter is 42, so we know 12x minus 6 is equal to 42. From there, we can add 6 on both sides and solve the equation normally. So we'll have 12x equals 48. Divide by 12 for our final answer of x equals 4. For number 11, we'll ask ourselves, are there variables on both sides of the equation? There are not, so we'll start by simplifying and combining like terms. In this case, we need to distribute. Negative 3 times 2x makes negative 6x, and negative 3 times 1 makes negative 3. We'll copy down negative 8x and combine like terms. After that, we'll move the constants, which are added and subtracted. So we'll have negative 14x equals 70. And then the opposite of multiplying, we will divide by negative 14. So the final answer is x equals negative 5. For number 12, again, we'll ask ourselves that same first question. Are there variables on both sides of the equation? This time there are, so we need to move them to the same side. If we ask ourselves which variable is smaller, negative 7x is smaller. So we can add 7x. The opposite of subtraction is to add on both sides. We'll end up with 5x plus 13 equals 28. Again, we'll move the numbers that are added and subtracted. So we'll end up with 5x equals 15. 5x shows multiplication, so the opposite inverse operation is division. When we divide both sides by 5, we'll get our final answer, x equals 3. And on our last two questions, again, we'll continue asking that same question. Are there variables on both sides? For number 13, if we look at the equation, there are not variables on both sides. So we'll start by simplifying, in this case, distributing. 0.4 times 5x gives us 2x, and 0.4 times 12 gives us negative 4.8. We'll copy down the other variable, 0.5x, and then we'll combine like terms. That gives us 2.5x minus 4.8 equals 15.2. We'll add 4.8 on both sides. So 2.5x equals 20. Our last step is dividing by 2.5 on both sides. And that's how we get the final answer of x equals 8, answer choice A. And finally, for the last question, we'll again ask ourselves that same question. Are there variables on both sides? In this case, we can see there are. So I see variables on the right side and the left side. There are still parentheses, so we'll start by distributing. We'll have 1 over 10x plus 5. On the right side of the equation, you'll notice negative 3x and 4x. Those are like terms, so we can combine those together. And that makes 1x. After that, since there are variables on both sides, we're going to ask ourselves which one's smaller. Between 1 over 10x and 1, well, 1 over 10x is smaller. So I'm going to subtract 1 over 10x on both sides of the equation. After I do that, I'm going to end up with 9 over 10x minus 13. To continue solving the equation, I'm going to add 13 on both sides of the equation. So I'll end up with 18 equals 9 over 10x. To continue solving, we're going to ask ourselves, how do we get rid of a fraction that is multiplied? To get rid of a fraction that's multiplied, we're going to flip it, so it becomes 10 over 9, and multiply on both sides of the equation. After we do that, we'll end up with our final answer of x equals 20.